You know, there's this invisible architecture all around us every single day. It's not built with steel or glass, it's made of sound. It's this hidden science that shapes why a library feels so hushed and calm, or why a cathedral feels absolutely epic, and a concert hall just feels alive. So today, we're going to dive into architectural acoustics, the incredible art of designing how we actually hear the world.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever walked into a lecture hall, something like this? You almost immediately get a sense that every single word from that stage is going to be perfectly clear. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. There's just a certain quality to the space. Okay, now picture a totally different space, like this one, wide open, industrial style. The sound in here is going to be completely different, right? It's probably going to echo, feel kind of cavernous, or maybe just dissolve into a background hum. You can literally feel the difference.
Well, here's the thing. That feeling? It is not an accident. Not at all. It's a deliberate design choice. The way a room sounds is just as carefully planned as its walls and its windows. And once that design is locked in, the sound and the space, they're basically one and the same.
So, to really get how architects can shape sound, we got to start with the absolute basics. We have to understand what sound actually is. And to do that, we need to zoom way in, down to the microscopic level.
Right. So sound isn't a thing that you can hold in your hand. It's really an experience. And at its heart, it's a physical event, a kind of molecular chain reaction that all starts with a simple vibration pushing and pulling the air molecules all around it. Probably the easiest way to picture this is to think about a long line of dominoes. You give that first one a little push, and boom, that energy travels all the way down the line. But here's the key. It's the energy that's moving, not the dominoes themselves. They pretty much stay where they are.
And that is exactly what's happening in the air around you. A vibration from a speaker, from your voice, whatever, it pushes on a little group of molecules. They then bump into their neighbors, who bump into their neighbors, and so on. This creates a wave of high and low pressure, areas where the molecules are all bunched up, and other areas where they're spread apart. And that wave is what travels all the way to your eardrum.
Okay, so sound is a pressure wave. Got it. But not all waves are the same. And how we measure and even visualize these waves is the absolute key to controlling them.
We can actually graph these pressure changes over time, and they look just like this. A high-frequency sound like a high-pitched whistle comes from a really fast vibration, which makes these tight, packed-together waves. And then a low-frequency sound like a deep bass drum, that's from a slow vibration, and it makes these long, spread-out waves. So, how do we measure this? Well, we use a unit called Hertz, or Hz. So if we say a sound is 500 Hertz, all that means is that the thing making the sound is vibrating back and forth 500 times, every single second. That's it. It's just a measure of speed. Now this is where it gets really fascinating for architects. Every single frequency has a physical size, and we call that its wavelength. It's the actual physical distance the wave travels to complete one full cycle. So that 500 Hertz tone, it's not just a number. It creates a wave in the air that is literally 2.25 feet long. And here's why that's so important. That 2-foot wave is going to interact with things its own size, like a person or a chair. But a really deep bass node, that might have a wavelength of 50 feet. It'll pass right by those small objects, but slam right into the back wall. This physical size is the main thing architects have to wrestle with.
And that leads us right to the main challenge, right? How in the world do you control thousands of these physical waves, all with different sizes, different energies, all bouncing around inside a single room?
Here's the problem. When a sound is made in a room, you don't just hear the sound coming straight from the source. Oh no. You hear this incredibly complex web of that sound bouncing off the walls, the ceiling, the floor, absolutely everything. All those reflections get to your ear at slightly different times, and that can either make the sound beautifully rich and full or just a chaotic, jumbled mess.
So how do designers predict all this chaos before a single brick has even been laid? Well, they use this incredibly powerful technique called ray tracing. Basically, they build a computer model of the room, and then they shoot out thousands of virtual rays of sound to see exactly how and where they're going to bounce around.
And the result looks something like this. It's kind of like a firework exploding in slow motion. By tracing the path of every single ray, designers can literally see the sound. They can pinpoint problem spots, they can test out different materials, and they can change the shape of walls or ceilings to guide the sound exactly where they want it to go, with just incredible precision.
So all of this really complicated design work, managing wavelengths, tracing reflections, it all boils down to one thing: delivering a specific kind of audio experience. And generally speaking, there are three main ways that sound gets delivered in a space like this.
First up, you've got the purest form, purely acoustic. This is for places like world-class symphony halls. In here, there are no microphones, no speakers. The room itself is the sound system. Every single curve of the ceiling, every angle of the wall, is painstakingly designed to naturally amplify and blend the sound from the stage perfectly.
This second method is what you're going to find in most bigger venues, a point source system. These are those big clusters of speakers you see hanging near a stage. They are designed to pump out really powerful full-range sound and focus it directly on the audience, basically overpowering the room's natural acoustics to deliver a super clear, strong signal.
And the third method is the distributed system. Just think about all those speakers you see in the ceiling of an airport or a grocery store or an office. The goal here isn't power. It's all about evenness and clarity. Lots of small speakers are spread all over the place to give you really consistent sound for background music or clear announcements, no matter where you happen to be standing.
So here's the big takeaway. The sound of a room is never neutral. It is always, always designed. The next time you walk into any space, a classroom, a movie theater, a cafe, doesn't matter. Just stop for a second and listen. And ask yourself, what is the invisible architecture that's at work here? What was this space actually designed for me to hear?